Let me tell you something most people will never understand. Privacy isn't about secrecy. It's about power. The moment you start putting every piece of your life on display, you're not sharing your truth. You're giving away your control. Because the world doesn't always clap for your success. Sometimes it studies it, then plots how to take it from you. So today, I'm going to tell you why keeping your life private isn't just wise. It's essential. Let me tell you something that most people never truly understand. Privacy isn't secrecy, it's strategy. It's not about hiding who you are, it's about protecting who you're becoming. In a world that thrives on exposure, where everyone rushes to share, post, prove, and announce, the rarest form of strength is restraint. People think if they're not seen, they're not succeeding. But that's where they're wrong. The more you keep private, the more you control the narrative. You can't be misunderstood if you haven't said a word. You can't be misused if you haven't revealed your cards. The truth is, not everyone deserves front row seats to your life. Some people only come to watch, not to support. Some come to take notes, not to cheer. When you make your life an open book, don't be surprised when people start editing your story. You have to understand that access is a privilege, not a right. You don't owe the world every detail about what you're doing, where you're going, or who you're with. The people who are meant for you will respect your silence just as much as your presence. Think about it. How many times have you shared something out of excitement, only to feel that subtle shift when someone's energy changes? That smile that doesn't reach their eyes, that question that sounds supportive but carries a tone of doubt. Not everyone is clapping because they're happy for you. Some are clapping just to count how high you rise before they whisper how far you might fall. When you limit access, you filter intentions. You make people earn the right to know your truth. That's not arrogance. That's awareness. The danger of being too visible is that you invite voices that were never meant to guide you. When everyone knows your next move, they start to have opinions about it. They start to project their fears onto your vision, their insecurities onto your path. You begin to question yourself, not because you're wrong, but because you're surrounded by too much noise. Silence protects clarity. The fewer people who know your plans, the less interference you'll face. People can't ruin what they don't understand, and they can't attack what they can't see. Sometimes, the smartest move you can make is to disappear while you're working. Let them think you're quiet. Let them think you're still. And then, one day, you reappear. Not with explanations, but with results that speak louder than any announcement ever could. And let's be honest, there's something magnetic about mystery. People are drawn to what they can't fully read. The less you reveal, the more they wonder. And in that wonder lies power. You don't have to prove yourself with constant updates. You don't have to justify your progress with public validation. The loudest person in the room rarely holds the real influence. It's the one who listens, observes, and moves strategically that holds the strings. When you're selective about what you share, you create an aura that demands respect. You control perception instead of being controlled by it. You stop performing for approval and start living for peace. There will always be those who think privacy equals loneliness. They'll say you've changed, that you've become distant or cold. But the truth is, you've simply become focused. You've learned that every conversation doesn't need your opinion. Every invitation doesn't need your presence. And every moment doesn't need to be documented. The more you grow, the quieter you'll become. Not because you have less to say, but because you finally understand that not everything needs to be said. Privacy gives you back your time, your mind, and your energy. You stop seeking permission and start building in peace. You start protecting the very thing that makes you powerful. Your focus. So don't apologize for being private. Don't feel guilty for moving silently. Privacy doesn't mean you're disconnected. It means you're discerning. You're no longer living to be seen. You're living to be fulfilled. Because when your circle gets smaller, your vision gets clearer. And when your life becomes more private, your spirit becomes more powerful. The fewer opinions you entertain, the faster you evolve. Protect your plans, your dreams, your relationships, your peace. Not everyone deserves a seat at your table. Some are only there to steal your recipe. Keep your life private, not because you're hiding, but because you're healing. Not because you're afraid, but because you're aware. The less the world knows, the safer your magic grows. And the ones who truly matter, they'll never need proof. They'll just feel your power. Thus, when no one knows what you're building, they can't break it. It's as simple and as powerful as that. The world loves to celebrate the outcome, but it rarely understands the process. The blood, the heartbreak, the sleepless nights that come before the applause. When your journey is public, every step becomes a performance. You start to worry more about how things look than how they feel. You start building for approval instead of purpose. But when you keep your progress private, you create a sacred space for real growth. You don't owe explanations, you owe yourself commitment. Your private battles, your private sacrifices, your private grind. Those are the roots of your success. And roots don't grow in the spotlight. They grow underground, where no one can trample them. Growth in silence is power in its purest form. The moment you stop announcing every dream, you start nurturing it. You give it oxygen to breathe, time to evolve, and strength to take shape. When you share too soon, you invite energy that might not align with your vision. People project their own limits onto you. They tell you what can't be done, not because it's impossible, but because they couldn't do it. And slowly, you start to absorb that doubt. You start dimming your fire to make others comfortable. But when you stay quiet, no one can contaminate your energy. Your vision stays pure, your focus stays sharp, and your momentum stays yours. Silence doesn't mean you're doing nothing. It means you're doing everything that matters, away from distractions. And let's be real, success is not born in public applause. It's born in the unseen hours, when you're questioning yourself, when you're ready to quit, but keep going anyway. That's where the transformation happens. The late nights where your eyes burn from exhaustion. The mornings where you rise before the world does. The days where it feels like no one believes in you but you. Those moments build resilience, confidence, and discipline. Traits that can't be learned from likes or comments. When people finally see your success, they'll call it sudden. But you'll know the truth. It wasn't sudden. It was silent. It was intentional. It was earned. There's also a peace that comes with privacy. A peace that no audience can give you. When you're not performing for the world, you get to focus on the craft itself. You make mistakes freely. You grow authentically. You fall and rise without judgment. You're not chasing perfection. You're chasing progress. That's the beauty of private growth. It's messy, it's raw, it's real. And that's why it lasts. Because when you've built something away from the spotlight, you've built it strong enough to survive the spotlight. You won't need validation because your confidence comes from what you know, not what others think. It's important to understand that not everything needs to be shared to be successful. Some of your best moments will never be posted. Some of your greatest victories will only be felt in your soul. That's okay. You're not missing out. You're protecting what matters. Privacy gives you the room to be proud without being performative. To celebrate quietly without seeking applause. It's a form of discipline, of maturity. You learn to separate your worth from visibility. You stop measuring your life in public approval and start measuring it in inner peace. The more private your path, the more sacred your progress becomes. So stop announcing your every move. Stop broadcasting your beginnings. Let the world see only the finished product, not the work in progress. Protect your process like it's a secret recipe. Because it is. It's yours. You've earned the right to grow quietly, to fall privately, to rise powerfully. Remember, you owe the world your results, not your roadmap. Keep your head down. Keep your faith high. Let your success be the loudest thing about you. Because this truth is this: when you grow in silence, no one can interrupt your transformation. When you build in private, no one can dismantle your foundation. And when you finally rise, the world won't see how you did it. They'll only see that you did. That's the power of privacy. That's the strength of silence. And that's how you win, not loudly, but completely. People will always talk. It's what they do. They'll form opinions about your life based on fragments they barely understand. They'll assume, twist, exaggerate, and fill in the blanks with stories that make sense to them. But here's the truth. You don't owe anyone clarity. You don't need to correct their assumptions or defend your silence. Because silence doesn't mean you're lost. It means you're focused. When you choose silence, you're not surrendering, you're taking back control. Every word you don't say becomes a shield. Every truth you hold close becomes protection. Let people talk while you move. Let them guess while you grow. Because the moment you stop explaining yourself, you stop giving others permission to define you. Silence is not weakness.